sell before you build, build as you go. That's how you're supposed to build any online programs or courses. And most consultants out there are making a massive mistake, and they do it backwards. They build something before they even know if someone is going to buy this. They spend all this money and all this time, all this energy on building something, spending, buying the, cameras, hiring, videographers, getting all the tools in place, building worksheets, presentations, platforms, all that stuff, just to learn that nobody's buying their stuff. And that is a massive problem. It's such a common problem that I see in the market. The actual approach, the proper approach, is to sell the idea first, build something that you just sold, and build as you go. And here's what it means. So, as with anything, like every business exists to solve a problem. And so, first of all, your job is not to build something, not to build a solution, but to understand if there is a problem on the market and whether you can fix that problem. And so, when you start with understanding if the market actually wants and needs what you have, then that's the right place to be. So, what you want to do is you want to test your positioning, you want to test your offers, you want to see if the way you package what you're thinking that the market needs is something that resonates with them, right? So you start with, instead of building something, you start with positioning, you start with building the offer, you start with building the kind of the wrapper around the product, and you test that with the market, right? That way, if there's a market for it, that way, if there are people who are interested in buying your program, and this specifically makes sense for like people who are making, creating online courses, but in my case, that is all about group programs, and I teach how to productize your consulting business, and mostly through group consulting, because that's highly scalable and highly leveraged model for consultants. And so, what we always do, we always start with having an idea, having a few hypotheses around, who the market is, what is it that they actually need, what is the angle, and how do we package the idea, and how do we package the solution, and then we go and test it. And you need to test it not only with like, hey, would you like this? Raise your hand and comment below, because this is such a low effort, engagement where everyone can say, oh, this is such a great idea. Um, that's not the best way to, that's maybe the first step, but the next step would be, a lot of people will suggest that you create a wait list. That's a better way of testing if someone is interested or not. But the best way to test is, people need to vote, and they need to vote with a credit card. If someone is pulling out their credit card from the wallet and says, I want this, then that is your ultimate vote towards, this is a great idea. What do you have? Like, I really want what you have to offer. This really resonates. I want to buy this from you. And when you approach it this way, so sell before you build, you will be able to test a lot of things and a lot of ideas, a lot of offers way faster, because the effort that you have to put in just putting a post out and creating a Stripe link to test if the market is ready to buy from you is very, very low. You can pull this off in a couple of days, in terms of like, from the idea to writing a copy for your email list and LinkedIn post, and then maybe creating a quick landing page or sales page or an offer doc, and then just putting together a Stripe link with payment form on it, right? So that is literally like, if you had all the kind of building blocks, you can do it in a couple hours in a day. But if you're starting from scratch, probably a couple days are needed. And again, what it does, it allows you to test more angles, more offers, more markets, more ideas faster. Because if you think about this the other way, like the traditional way, like, oh, I'm gonna build this first, you are spending so much time and effort and energy, and money on building this thing just to learn. It can be months and months, and just to learn that nobody's buying this. And it has a impact on a couple kind of areas of your life or in your business. One, obviously, you wasted the time and money and energy, right? Two, massive mindset hit. You put all that effort, you were so excited about something, and then nobody's buying this, and that is just crushing you. And then to maybe you can do this, do it this way a few times, but 2 or 3 times, and you're like, no, this is just not working out for me. Like it's not for me. Maybe I should go back to 9 to 5. Like you have all these negative, thoughts, and just because your mindset just gets a massive hit. And so if you actually, instead of this, implement this idea of like selling before building, then you can get the feedback from the market way faster. And because you're asking for payment, your that's the highest quality feedback you can get, right? So because again, people vote with their credit cards. If someone says yes, I want this, that's not really a vote. I've been through this so many times. I had waiting lists of like thousands of people, and then in the end, when you ask them for money, they're like, maybe not now. I remember this years ago, when I was trying to sell one of my first courses, and there was a massive interest in it, and people were like, well, yeah, this is fantastic, let me know when it's ready. So I had this wait list, and then I emailed them, or actually texted them one on one, and they were like, well, maybe not now, maybe next quarter. Oh, now, oh, I thought it's going to be cheaper or like free or whatever, right? So you're there's a massive disappointment, right? So when you sell before you build, with that kind of mindset in mind, you can prevent from this from happening. Now, there's one very important piece, that I want to kind of clarify here. This is not about building something that you don't, or selling something that you don't know how to build. This is not about scamming people. This is not about telling them, hey, I'm going to build an app I have no idea how to build. Or this is not about I'm going to build a program, I'm going to help you get more leads if I have no idea of how to do that, right? So it's a matter of testing out, ideas and angles on how you wrap your, what is your offer. And remember, offer is how you wrap your product. Like this, it's a wrapper on your product. If you're a consultant, you are actually a product. Like I'm a product for my clients. They buy me, right? But there's different ways how I can deliver that product. It might be through a group program. It might be through a group program that's 6 weeks, 6 months, or 12 months. It might be a program where I'm on calls every week and I'm on calls every month. There might be a program where there's accountability buddies, pods, and stuff like that. Like, so there's different ways of how I can deliver the value I have in my head as my IP, right? So that's what offer is. And then offer also includes, so it's not only like what is the deliverable, but also like what is the price, what is the whole flow, like how many meetings, how many events, how many calls, is that in person, is that online, like all the logistics are part of the offer. And so when you build different offers and you test them through this idea of sell before you build, you can test them multiple times. And to be honest, I test probably like 2 3 offers every single month, just to see like what's working, what's not working. And then I also make decisions. Well, if I only had like 3 people interested, I'm not gonna do it. And if they paid me the money, well, I'm gonna refund them. Nobody ever, I've been doing this for years, and like over 15 years, nobody ever was upset with the fact that I gave them the money back. They were actually upset with the fact that I did it in a sense that like they were like, oh shoot, like I was actually very very excited about being part of this. So there's and at the same time, you're testing one offer and it just completely flops, and then you're testing the other offer, and then it's like 35 people, and then plus hundreds of others interested, and you only have 30 seats available, which is what happened in my current offer actually that I'm testing right now. I said 30 seats, 3 cohorts of 10. That got sold out, and then we have a wait list, and I have to tell people like, well, sorry, but it's just all sold out. So it's really it that approach really helps us understand the market and test the market and research the market and test our ideas. So that's part of the whole sentence of like sell before you build, comma, build as you go. So the second part of that phrase or statement is that once you sell something, now obviously you have to build it if you decide to pull this off. So in my case, like if there's like 3 or 5 people interested, I probably won't do it. And I will just refund the money. um, but once you have sold something and decided to go through, then you have to start building stuff. And so my approach typically is to build, if it's a group program, let's say it's a 6 weeks cohort, I will build 2 weeks worth of content. I will have a portal. You can use School, Circle, Member Vault, whatever whatever you use, and then I would build 2 weeks worth of content in it. And so when I onboard people, I'm like 2 weeks ahead, and then I would build the content as we go. And that approach has another massive benefit because, again, going back to the one of the first statements in this video is that every business exists to solve a problem. And a common and massive mistake that I see, a lot of businesses make, a lot of startups, a lot of people who are just starting out, is that they fall in love with their idea. And if you fall in love with your idea and you build something before selling, I already explained what the problem is. But the other thing is that, you know, it really doesn't matter if you love the idea. Your market has to love the idea. Your market has to be interested in it, not you. Like, you're not building this for yourself. You're building this for yourself 10 years ago. And very often it's really hard to remember, like, what is it that, what were the challenges that I was experiencing back then. And times also change. 10 years ago, AI wasn't existing, for example, right? So now you might need to implement or involve or include other elements into this program versus what you were thinking to build. And so when you build 2 weeks in advance, then you build as you go based on two things. One is the feedback about like how they like these 2 weeks. So for example, they, you see like the engagement levels, you see like maybe the videos are too long or too short, whatever that is. And number two, you have 2 weeks of asking where you can ask questions from your audience of like, what is it exactly that their challenge is, right? And so you build the next steps, next elements, exactly how your audience wants. And that results in you building a perfect product for your perfect audience. And you make them fall in love with that product and they will, because you build it exactly the way they want it, not how you want it. Now, obviously, there's more nuance to it. Like, you're the expert. You need to deliver what you know that they need, because clients very often, like people very often, just don't know what they need. They might want something, but that's not what they need. So there's a balance in it as well. You have to always kind of be critical about the feedback, but it's important for you to take those things into account and pay attention to what they tell you, right? So um, as you go, you build it. Obviously, when you sell, you build a skeleton of the idea what the program will be or the course will be, right? And that's what you sell as your minimum viable offer. But the details of what's going to happen in each week or whatever, that comes later based on the feedback that you get from your clients or your members and people who are actually going through it. So this is the way to go, and this will help you save time, money, energy, and mindset. And as you know, mindset is so crucial. It's critical, because that's what is actually driving you and your passion, your energy. And like, you wake up in the morning like, yes, I want to do it. That's the difference between yes, I want to do it, and you're being excited about it, and the fact that like you wake up and like, oh shit, maybe I should go back to 9 to 5. So sell before you build before you sell. No, sell before you build, uh, build as you go, and you know use this strategy, or this approach, so that you can save time and money, and you'll see you'll be very, very successful when it comes to testing different offers and programs, and you'll be able to do it very, very often, without that massive mindset hit